Welcome to Learn, Create, Sew. Today we have a fun little project for you. Today we're going to be making pocket-sized rice bags. These are a great way to use up your scrap fabric. I like to make these in a set so that I have two together. I'm going to be making mine out of flannel today, but you could also use cotton if you prefer. You want to make sure that you use a fabric that can be ironed. Let's get started. To begin, you're going to want 2 squares of fabric for each rice bag. So if you're making a pair of rice bags, you're going to want 4. Each of these squares measures 4¼ inches on each side. If you don't want to worry about measuring your fabric, there is a free pattern available on my website, which is linked in the description below. The first thing you're going to want to do is take your 2 pieces of fabric and you want to place them right sides together. And we're going to sew all the way around the edge with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. But we do have to leave an opening to turn. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin 3 sides. And on the 4th side, I want to leave an opening that's about 1 inch wide. So I'm going to put 2 pins in the center that are about 1 inch or so apart. And I'm going to start sewing here and go all the way around and stop sewing here, leaving that inch gap. And again, I'm going to sew with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Next, we're going to trim off the 4 corners, and this will help remove some of the bulk when we turn. Take care not to cut your stitches. And let's turn it right side out. I like to slide my finger down inside and pinch at the bottom. And take the time to turn the 4 corners well. This will help with the overall look of the rice bag. And you can use a turning tool to help you. I like to use my purple thing. And now that I've got it all turned out, I'm going to head to the ironing board and press it flat. Make sure that the opening is tucked down inside. Next, I'm going to locate the opening. The opening on my rice bag is right here, so I'm going to put a pin on either side of that opening. And I'm going to head back to the sewing machine. This time, I'm going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to start at this pin, same as before, and I'm going to head over and around all sides and stop here, again using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now that I've sewn my border, I'm ready to fill the rice bag with rice. I'm going to take my funnel here and I'm going to slide it through the opening. You want to make sure that it's pretty far down in there. You don't want any rice to get in the border, you want it all to be in the center. I like to use about 3 tablespoons of rice. You don't want to fill it too full because we're going to have to sew that opening closed and the rice will have to move out of the way. Okay, my rice bag is all full and I'm going to shake that rice down into the bottom and pinch it at the top. I like to leave the space about a thumb's width here up at the top, nice and flat so there's no rice up there. And then I'm going to place a pin about 3/8 of an inch to a 1/2 inch below where my stitches are. And this will help keep that rice out of the way because next I'm going to sew the opening closed. So I'm going to start stitching right here where I stopped before, and I'm going to sew straight across until I hit the other side, and I'm going to make sure I backstitch when I start and stop, and if you can, you want to stitch exactly on top of your previous stitches when you begin and when you end. And if you'd like to, you can slip stitch these 2 little sides together, but it's not really necessary because the rice is all trapped in there with our second set of stitching. So go ahead and repeat this process and make a matching set if you like. I hope you've enjoyed this project. Happy sewing!